Hello, everybody, and welcome into another edition of the Computer America Show. Yes, it's our daytime programming starting from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Got a great show planned for you today. In the first hour, we're going to be doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And then in the second hour, we're going to have the Verizon Foundation here. This is the philanthropic arm of the Verizon mobile service. We're going to be talking about what they do at the Verizon Foundation with the company's director, the director of education programs for the Verizon Foundation, Justina Nixon-Santil, is going to be here with us in the second hour.
1 minute until showtime.
So as you hear, sit back, relax, enjoy 2 hours of Computer America coming straight at you. And Ben is here. You can wave at him if you're watching.
Ben's kind of here.
He's kind of here. Ben is always kind of here.
What is Ben? What is here? What is Computer America?
Yes, all these philosophical questions, deep, very, very deep. And we'll have the answers for you, hopefully. Another behind-the-scenes moment here at Computer America.
Maybe next time we should prepare some behind-the-scenes features.
Maybe we should do that. We should start doing it. Okay, 10 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into another edition of the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And yes, it's our third.
It's our first week.
Yes, our first week here live, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And that glow that you look at when you see Ben's face is the sun. That's right. It is daytime, reflecting off of all of us. Actually, it's reflecting off of my face as well. It is daytime here at Computer America, and we welcome all of you in our new time slot. This being our first week here on the program, and we have a terrific show planned for you. In the first hour, we're going to be doing computer and technology news, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And in the second hour, we're going to have the Verizon Foundation. Now, this is the philanthropic arm of Verizon. These are the people that bring you that wonderful telephone service. But we're going to have Justina Nixon-Santil here, who is the Director of Education Programs for the Verizon Foundation. We're going to be talking about what it is that they do. It's going to be a very interesting show, and that's coming up in the second hour of the program. Now, if you have, let me just tell you, if you have a comment or a question for us, we make it really easy for you to call us and speak to us. Pick up the phone call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. We also have, if you're radio shy, you don't want to go on the air, we have another mechanism where you can communicate with us. Go to ComputerAmerica.com. That's our internet home of the talk show. And on the upper portion of every page there, you'll see click submit a question. It's right there. Just click on that, and you'll be able to submit a question. Go to our question submission page, type in your question or your comment, hit the submit button, and Ben and I will instantly see your comment or question, what we can direct toward myself or to Ben or to our guests, however, whatever your question is for. We can do that. The other really nice thing is that we invite you to join our live video stream. That's right. we are a radio talk show, but we also stream our live video, so you can see everything. You can see myself. You can see Ben. Sometimes you can see our guests. And Ben has the technology to display websites, videos, anything that he wants to in the background in his video stream. So you can see everything. You can see that the interaction take place. So that's a great way for you to enrich your experience, which we call Computer America. So before we get started, Ben, I always like to ask you, anything else you want to mention?
Of course, go check out Stitcher and SoundCloud, our two newest outlets, and this is just an added lineup to anywhere else you can find us, including iTunes, on Blog Talk Radio, of course, and IRN. And we're trying to add more places for more people to find us. And if you'd like to hear us on Android specifically, I always want to push this because so many people listen to radio shows and podcasts and whatnot on their phones and mobile devices. If you have an Android device, I think Stitcher is probably the best way to get Computer America now. So Go sign up for that.
Right, you can do that. Of course, that's most of the archive shows. If you want to hear us live on your cell phone or mobile phone, be it an iPhone or anything that can get a browser, Android, you can listen to us live on the IRN radio network, which you can also get to us on the TuneIn radio network. And we are live as we speak. Because
that message was, of course, primarily meant for those who time shift us. And we know that there's a large segment out there who do that. It's always more fun to watch us live, and you can interact with the show and, kind of partake in what we do here. But for time shifters,
yes,
Stitcher, do it.
SoundCloud, absolutely. Those are two great ones. But we are, as I said, there are many places you can hear us live. You can hear us on the Blog Talk Radio Network live. You can hear us on the IRN Radio Network live, on TuneIn Radio Network live. Just search for Computer America, or just search for IRN Radio Network when you go to TuneIn, and you can bookmark that and listen to us live there. Okay, well, that said, let's get to the news portion of the show. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. slimwareutilities.com.
All right, and I guess as usual, I'll start out with the first news story. And folks, there have been a lot of really good ones today.
Yes.
And I think we're going to start out with one that is of dire importance. I'm kidding. It's actually pretty silly. But hey, silly is okay for a starting story. This is from Popular Science, and it's scientists, calculate the amount of calories needed to walk to Mordor. Yeah. So this is, again, Popular Science, Kelsey Atherton. And this is, of course, all about J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings series. And the scientists, this is Sky Rossetti and Krisho Manoharan, and they published in the Journal of Interdisciplinary Science Topics. This definitely falls into that. And they have how long it would take all 9 members. It would take them 92 days to walk to Mordor, and the amount of calories that they would have to consume, 1,780,214.59 calories.
Wow.
For all 9 members to walk to Mordor.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this is not just a one-off study. This was actually the next study in a series. The first series was modeling the base metabolic rate of species in Middle Earth. This was their previous study where they had actually calculated the daily requirement of calories for elves, by the way, who require 1,400, and hobbits, who require 1,800. Humans, of course, the usual 2,000. Mm-hmm. And they don't have dwarves here, but I'm sure they checked into dwarves as well. But they used these numbers, to which then they abstracted to their new study, which was, again, how many calories would it take to walk to Mordor. And not only that, they did a little tweaking of the novels. They took out some of the events. They took out parts that kind of took them off track. The idea of this was a straight shot, a perfect world, or as perfect could be, where they go straight from the Shire to Mordor.
Yeah.
So 92 days, and that's what it is. So of course they didn't just stop. The scientists didn't just stop at figuring out what the energy cost would be.
Pray tell, why not?
Because this is awesome. They also examined the way to meet that, and according to the novels, in the woods of Lothlorien, the Fellowship is given lembas, and this is, of course, the elven bread. And they have a quote here which essentially says, "This bread will feed you. It will feed even the strongest man after a long day's labor." So, using that kind of knowledge, the scientists were able to calculate that a single lembas piece of bread would contain about 2,638 calories.
Okay.
So, figuring out about 2,600 calories for a single loaf of bread, they then, of course, divided that into, or at least divided the total caloric intake. The Fellowship would have to bring about 675 loaves of bread on their adventure.
Okay.
To sustain them.
All right.
Greg, you don't seem to be getting into this.
I got nothing for this. I want to report some technology news.
No. I'm not even done with this.
Well, please be done with it. I want to move on to
all right.
This next story from Maximum PC. Lenovo just announced, they make these incredible laptops and everything. Well, they just they had the Yoga, they have the Yoga 2, they have the Yoga Tab 3 Pro. Get this. They now have the Yoga Tab 3 Pro with a built-in 70-inch projector. A projector into this thing, a 70-inch projector. They just unveiled this week. It's it's both in the Yoga Tab 3 Pro and the Yoga Tab 3, both obviously aimed at people who are video enthusiasts. And but the Pro model stands out because it has the built-in 70-inch projector that's supposedly optimized for Netflix. So if you're a big Netflix watcher, you can now take your Netflix video from your laptop and project it on a wall and sit back and watch this thing from this tiny little laptop. Now, a couple other interesting things about it. The tablet's got a 10.1-inch display screen. I guess that they reduced it slightly because it has the projection capability. It runs on the Atom X5 Z8 8500 processor. It's got 2 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs or 32 gigs of internal eMMC storage, micro SD card slot, all the usual suspects. But basically, they introduced the 8-inch and 10.1-inch non-Pro versions, and both support a Qualcomm 1.3 gigahertz processor. But here's the thing. I mean, the big story here is this new one. I mean, the Yoga Tab 3 Pro is going to be available next month. It's going to be set at $169 for the 8-inch model, $199 for the 10-inch model, and the Yoga Tab 3 Pro with the 70-inch projector will hit the retail stores in November, and it's going to start at $499. That's amazing for something like that, for that kind of power, starting at $499, and it's going to be hitting the shelves in November. I'm very impressed with this thing. That 70-inch projector could be, from a tablet, it's going to be extremely useful.
We're going to eat through its battery in no time.
Well, it's they use an LED to do it, which is obviously power. It conserves power. It doesn't. It's not like a regular lamp that they would have in a projector. So you're still going to get.
Well, most projectors are still LED, but they still require a ton of energy. If just surfing the web on a smartphone sucks the battery dry in 3 hours, a projector is going to do it much quicker.
Well, I guess if you're going to have it in a projector, you're going to be at a place where you can plug the plug.
That would be the only possibly. I don't see this just going wireless, because you'd be lucky, I would imagine, if this thing would be able to last through an entire movie. That would be nice, but that might even be pushing it.
Well, as long as I would think that if you can use the projector, you're going to be near a power source, and you can probably just plug it in, and you'll be fine. Still, I think it's one of the first that I've seen. I think it's a really impressive thing, and I thought we'd let our listeners know about it. It's a good story.
Good find. Good find.
All right, good find. All right, what else we got?
Don't see how it's more relevant than how much lamba spread it takes to get the Fellowship of Mordor, because that is obviously very crucial. That's destroying the One Ring. That's the entire world. But all right, if you want to talk about tablets with protectors, you want to talk about tablets with protectors. That's your business. Okay, this next story. Elon Musk.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about him and his new cars, Tesla. But not just any Tesla. We're going to talk about the Tesla Model 3. This is the newest car that he's announced. And yes, indeed, finally, Tesla might just be affordable for the average person.
35.
Before this, Tesla's been, in the neighborhood of $120,000 to $150,000 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Tesla Model 3, Elon Musk claims that they're shooting for a $35,000 price point.
Wow, that really does bring it to the average consumer.
That's not much more than other like that's definitely not the low range of cars,
Mhm.
but that's well within the middle of the pack in terms of pricing.
Absolutely, 35K, absolutely, and
So-
and then with financing, whatever, I would think that certainly it would be affordable.
Well, again, this is through Tesla. Tesla does their own selling, and I'm sure they do some kind of financing through themselves. But don't expect to go to a car dealership and find a Tesla.
No,
Tesla does all of their sales over the internet.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's
But you can go and you can test drive one, obviously, or you can go at least see one at any of the places that they have the showrooms. I think it's in malls and different places that you can try it. But
yeah, you have to look that up.
Yeah, you had to look it up. But again, 35K certainly makes it affordable.
Right. So this, and going into the story, as the story goes, Elon Musk took to Twitter yesterday to give a firmer deadline and price of the company's Model 3, the mass market car that many expect is the electric car manufacturer's make it or break it offering, which I really don't think that's true. I mean, I think their Tesla high end, their Tesla, I believe it's called the Roadster, like the Model 1.
Yeah.
Even though it's like $120,000 plus, it's, we just reported on a story how it got like 102 out of 100 on Consumer Reports.
Yep.
That car is just knocking it out of the park. Make it or break it, I really doubt it. But
and Consumer, as you mentioned, Consumer Reports, they broke their rating.
That's what I just said. So Tesla, they said, will be able to start shipping they're going to start taking pre-orders for the Model 3, the 35K one, in March 2016, so early next year. And the car will cost about $35,000. Again, much, much more affordable.
Yep.
So Musk also took some time to respond to some criticism about the Tesla SUV that will be starting at $132,000. Again, that's the Model X is their SUV offering. And he took Twitter saying that with the same options, Model X is $5K more than the S due to greater size and body complexity. 6 Series is fully loaded, hence the high price. So the fully loaded SUV is even more expensive than the Model S, which has been winning awards left and right. And the cost shows. It's another high-end car from Tesla.
Yep, exactly.
So, that's all we really have to report right now about Tesla. And that's next year pre-order start, and the year after they're hoping to start producing and shipping them to customers. But yeah, $35K for a Tesla car finally. Finally.
Well, speaking about affordable consumer electronics, Samsung at the IFA, which is like the Consumer Electronics Fair in Berlin, just unveiled the world's first ultra high definition 4K Blu-ray player. And this thing is really pretty. I actually watched a video on this as well. But they are actually the first manufacturer out of the gate who have this player. But obviously more are to follow. But again, it's the ultra high definition Blu-ray specification that which was finalized by the Blu-ray Disc Association back in May. And now we're seeing the first UHD Blu-ray player announcement courtesy of Samsung. This player supports everything you'd expect, from a 4K Blu-ray player, including 4 times the resolution of 1080p, which is high dynamic range imaging, and a color palette that's 64 times larger than 1080p. So the box will also work as a streaming video device for 4K services. That's nice. Okay, so if you have Netflix, which now streams in 4K.
See, but I think people expect that nowadays. People expect that their devices, especially higher end, or once you're spending more than the average cost of one, you expect higher end TVs, higher end Blu-ray players, higher end DVD players, higher end gaming consoles. They expect to have them all connected and connected to a decent app selection.
But here's the conundrum, is because when you buy a TV that's got 4K ability, you got a new TV, guess what it's probably going to also support? Things like Netflix. So you're going to have that in your TV. You're going to have it in your Blu-ray player. You're going to have it on all these devices. There's going to be a lot of overlap. In other words, a lot of redundancy. But I guess that's okay, because if for some reason you're having difficulty using one, maybe another one you'll get better access. I mean, that's the only thing that I can think of here. But it's nice to have it just in case, and it's already built in. It doesn't affect the price. It's there. However, the player is expected to be priced under $500 when it hits the United States in early 2016. Okay, but the bottom line is that when you'll have a really great device to play your Blu-ray discs that you've been collecting and have not really been able to play it. You'll now have this player that's going to support the ultra high definition Blu-ray player specification. And if you've already purchased a Samsung 4K TV, don't worry about it, because there's going to be a software update too. That's one of the nice things about all these things. A lot of the hardware is firmware upgradable over the internet, so it will support HDMI 2.0A, which is necessary to take full advantage of the UHD Blu-ray features such as HDR. So if you have something that's you have an earlier version, don't worry, because you'll be able to connect to the internet via your smart TV and update to the proper specification. That's assuming you have a Samsung 4K TV that you just bought this year. So even though you may be an early adopter, don't worry, you're not going to be left out in the cold, because you won't see this until 2016. So there it is. You're going to have
the incessant march of technology getting better.
Yes,
this was only to be expected, and kudos to Samsung for being the first one to maybe not bring it to market, because again, 2016, but the first one to at least show what they're planning.
Yeah, and let me do another story that's sort of tied in here. We're talking about these high definition TVs, because I was watching a feed from the IFA Consumer Electronics Fair in Berlin, and I got to see Panasonic's OLED 4K TV, and it's to earn the THX certification. And I have to say, this is one gorgeous television, and the picture that you're looking at, it doesn't really do it justice. If you had a side view of this thing is wafer thin. It's thin. It's got virtually no. The bezel is virtually edgeless. It has virtually no edges. So tiny. It looks like this curved. Oh, there's a side view. Okay, there you go. Ben's got a side view of it up on the live stream. It is a gorgeous. It's one of the most beautiful ones that I've ever seen. It's curved. It's slightly curved, and but it's the first one to earn the THX certification. But the thing is, it's OLED, folks. That means you're going to get, when you have black and it's all about the black, you're going to have absolute black with OLED. It's none of this gray. Everything, the blacks are going to be absolutely crisp, clear, true to color, thanks to the OLED effort. And now, obviously, this is not going to be inexpensive. They're projecting this TV to have an equally stunning price tag of about $10,000. But hey, you know, if you have that disposable income, it's a 65-inch TV. It's the TX 65CZ 950. It just kind of rolls trippingly off the tongue, those numbers. And it is the author of this thing says it's the finest quality TV he's ever seen. And I would, even though I haven't seen it, just by seeing how it looks on the video that I watched, it's an amazing television. So very impressive. It's so light, so thin, and it has this incredible TV display. You no more washed out grays. You get absolute blacks. You get true to life colors, and again, that THX certification for the 4K TV.
We've come a long way from grainy little big boxes with little tuner knobs.
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't have a thing. This doesn't have a knob anywhere on it that you can see. There are no knobs on this TV. It is absolutely gorgeous. One of the prettiest TVs I've ever seen. Anyway, Panasonic, that's going to be coming to a dealer in early 2016. This is all from the IFA Consumer Electronics Fair. This is one of the biggest ones in Europe, in Berlin. But
still, these prices, they have a lot of room to come down. $10,000.
I'm sure they will eventually come down, you know. But this, if you see this thing and you have the money, you're just going to want to buy it.
Yeah, but I don't know who has the money anymore to spend $10K on a TV.
That's true. Well, there it is.
Wait 3 years; it'll be down to 3 or 4,000.
Yeah, but then they'll have something else. They'll have quantum dot. They'll have other technologies.
That's fine.
Yeah, they're coming out. But this right now is a beautiful television set. Very light, very ethereal. Mm-hmm.
All right. So this next story. Speaking of. I can't even tie it in with what Craig just said. This next story is about robots. But not just any robots. This is not robots to clean your house. This is not robots to mow your lawn. This is not robots to deliver your drinks in a hotel. This is not robots to check you in at hotels. This is a robot made to kill. Dun,
Kill
dun, dun.
Kill what?
Killer robots. And yes, the most maligned and the most evil of all creatures, the starfish.
Oh, no way.
It's a robot designed to kill starfish that will be released on Australian reefs.
Why? Starfish are beautiful little creatures. Why do you want to go out and set drones to kill them?
Popular science author Mary Beth Griggs, and before we even read the article, I'm just going to preempt this by saying I assume they are an invasive species. They are not supposed to be there, much like the Florida wetlands and pythons. Pythons are very beautiful animals. They're beautiful snakes, and they belong in their ecosystem where they belong. And starfish are the same way. They may be nice to look at, and they may seem harmless, but I'm sure they are doing detrimental damage to something like the Great Barrier Reef.
Okay.
So, without any direction from humans, the robot sees its target and zeroes in. It administers a lethal injection before its victim can flee, then seeks out the next hit. It sounds like the plot of a Terminator movie, but this robot is far from fiction. Meet the COTS robot, COTS bot, a robot designed to identify and systematically eliminate crown of thorns starfish. And they have a picture here of the starfish. You can see why it got the name crown of thorns.
Yeah.
From coral reefs.
That's quite pretty. It's actually pretty to look at.
Oh yeah, no, it's very pretty. But here's the thing: they're incredibly destructive species that literally eats away at coral reefs, including the Great Barrier Reef. Not good to have a creature that eats coral reefs, because that is obviously very, very bad. So yeah, human divers are doing, and they have a quote here from the creator of the COTS bot. saying that human divers are doing an incredible job of eradicating the starfish from targeted sites, but there just aren't enough divers to cover all of the COTS hotspots across the Great Barrier Reef. The COTS spot becomes a real force multiplier for the eradication process. The more the more of them you deploy, imagine how much ground the programs could cover with a fleet of 10 or 100 COT spots at their disposal. Robots that can work day and night in any weather condition.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he came up with the idea about a decade ago, and the only way to kill the crown of thorns starfish was to either remove them from the reef or inject them with 20 times with a poison that would kill the starfish, but not the rest of the delicate ecosystem. So the researchers found a way to do it with a single shot, and the weapon of choice is a dose of bile, which, kind of destroys the starfish from the inside out.
Yeah.
A little grim, but at the same time, technology used to preserve fragile ecosystems.
All right.
What is more futuristic than that?
No, nothing than that, I guess. Listen, we're coming up to our first break. Some other stories we're going to be talking about is PlayStation 4 is going to be supporting live streaming on YouTube gaming. Wow, that's over another hurdle in its quest for live stream supremacy, or basically to catch up with Twitch. That story. Also, Bang & Olufsen's got a speaker that costs $1,000, but you're not going to believe what it looks like. And also a way that you can use dial-up for a video chat, just like a regular call. These stories and more are all coming up here on Computer America. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Hey, who turned the sun on? Didn't this used to be a nighttime show? Oh, hi, it's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Zackies Turn Signal Gloves. So, Zackies invited us to get their gloves with built-in LED turn signals. We couldn't resist. The turn signals are outward-pointing arrows on the back of the gloves with contact buttons on the finger and thumb to activate them. Each arrow blinks 9 LEDs. They're bright and respond to bright ambient light by getting even brighter. Their batteries are rechargeable, and a recharger comes with. When you take the battery pack off, the gloves are washable. There's a lot of good engineering here, anticipating and eliminating our usual sources of complaints. Bottom line, Zacky's turn signal gloves take biking safety in a good direction. Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. And that sun thing, does it have to be out there?
Welcome back to the Computer America Show, 33 minutes past the hour in the first hour as we do computer technology news brought to you by Slowmore Utilities. We are just plowing through these stories. There's been a lot of really cool news out lately, and from new technology like 4K Blu-ray players and new televisions from Panasonic, that's who it was, and killer robots, and blah blah blah. There's been a lot of really cool stuff. So
to continue on?
Yeah, with this next one, Greg, I believe it's your story.
Yep, it is. This is again from Popular Science. We've been talking about this in the past, PlayStation 4, and we've been talking about the YouTube gaming, and they're looking obviously for more and more ways to, kind of catch up with Twitch and possibly even surpass them. And in this next story, this is a big announcement for them. The PlayStation 4 will support live streaming on YouTube gaming. And again, this is from G. Clay Whitaker, Popular Science. And he says PlayStation 4 announced yesterday that the next software update for the PlayStation 4 will include, among other things, support for a YouTube gaming app and for live streaming. This is huge, for them. So basically, one of the initial concerns for YouTube gaming was console support, and Twitch, as you may know, currently has a monopoly on console-to-screen live streaming, basically meaning that gamers need a computer to convert their game content before it hits a live audience. Well, this new setup, this new arrangement, brings the same support to anyone who has a PlayStation 4. Now, the article goes on to say that they expect Microsoft's Xbox One is going to follow suit and announce support as well. Why not? It's all to YouTube's advantage, and which means console gamers will have a choice between two competitors that don't involve extra costs. This essentially levels the playing field in terms of hardware. Now, he does go on to say that Twitch should not be frightened just yet, though. The YouTube gaming still lacks transparency on income models for content producers who wish to monetize their gaming. So while casual adapters may give YouTube gaming a go, Twitch still seems to have the best incentives at this point. Still, the announcement is certainly forthcoming, and also I'm gratified to see that they're going to support this PlayStation 4, and hopefully shortly thereafter the Xbox One to see this as well. There it is. So just thought you should know that. You're a gamer. You should be happy about this.
Not really.
No? Why not?
No. The thing that makes online streaming and streaming of games, it seems to be this whole cultural phenomena, but it's at the same time there's a rhyme behind the reason, or there's a reason behind the rhyme, and that is content producers are what drive viewers to different platforms. Mm-hmm. Twitch has a very easy to use, very intuitive, anyone can get on it platform. They also have content creators who partner up with Twitch after they get so many viewers, and after they can grow their audience, mm-hmm. they can monetize what they do and actually do it professionally, for a living. There are people who make a couple $100,000 a year if you're popular enough, mm-hmm. streaming video games to Twitch. They have a very nice platform for getting people to commit to their platform, create content on their platform, and stick with it. YouTube, this seems like, right now, as it stands, a nice way to get random video clips up. It seems like a nice way to stream if you want to, and you have friends who want to watch you. But a way to make yourself stand out, like you don't need 1 million people watching 1 million other people play video games. the thing that Twitch has and that Place TV has and that all these other services have, they have celebrities. They have people who are very, very popular who get, the 20,000, 30,000, 100,000 different viewers at a time. That is where, that's where the success comes from between all these different services. So with YouTube, they're making it incredibly easy for you or me or anyone to, upload content, stream, have other people find you. It's just until they find a way to actually let people stand out, let people develop an audience and, support themselves doing this, their content is always just going to be, hey, here's this clip I saw, check it out. Or here's something I did, check it out. And it won't be a competitive platform like Twitch or any other, or Azubu is. That they're the two big ones in streaming. It won't be a serious competitor to those until you can actually have some sort of celebrity cultivation going on there.
Okay, so basically anybody can come on and do it with YouTube. You're saying Twitch is more selective when it comes to
not at all. Twitch, if you want, if you wanted to right now, go create an account, get a webcam, play a game, and start up, you could do that right away. It costs nothing. It's free. Go for it. It's just Twitch has a very nice system to partner with Twitch, get paid by Twitch, get paid for followers, get paid through advertising through Twitch, and then have people develop communities through Twitch. I don't think YouTube has it. I think YouTube is a great place to find clips and find videos, but as for a specific community, YouTube has never had that, and it's going to be hard to do that when they're pushing it to so many people.
Yeah. Well, what YouTube then needs is a big name sponsor to start sponsoring events like this on YouTube. It seems to
not really, like YouTube is the sponsor. They need some big name celebrities. They need some very popular people to start taking their broadcast over to YouTube and potentially bring their audience with them and start showing that, hey, if you wanted to make money doing this, you can come over to YouTube. Because right now that's what Twitch has. Twitch has the personalities. Twitch has, the people who continuously draw, 1,000 people, 2,000 people, 5,000 people. They have those people at Twitch, and that's what makes Twitch successful. YouTube now needs that. It's not enough to let anyone and everyone stream, because honestly, that's not what makes the other services worth it. So what if there's 1 million people streaming if none of them are entertaining, charismatic, if there aren't other people to kind of socialize with? That doesn't matter. If you don't have the big names, you're just YouTube. You're just another place to host your clips.
All right. Well, that's some excellent insight from Ben, and so obviously YouTube still has a long way to go before they're going to be competing with Twitch. And it's interesting because Popular Science says Twitch better watch its back, but evidently it's not as they don't have to do that much back watching, evidently, according to Ben.
Well, they do. As soon as YouTube can break that stigma and people can start supporting themselves and people start taking their show too, because let's face it, the people streaming these video games and actually doing this for a career, who are actually being an I believe they call them influencer. For people who are actually doing this as a career, if you can make a better chunk of change and you can do it easier using YouTube's platform, they're gonna go. And I think YouTube, if they have integration throughout their service, they could make it very profitable for these people to go over. It's just it's such an infancy. If they don't play it right, if they just kind of say, hey, look, we're for everyone, and come watch streams, they're not going to take off like Twitch and Azubu did.
All right. Okay. All right. Good insight. All right. I think you have time to do another story.
I think I do have time for another story. All right. So this next story, we are going to talk about algorithms. Algorithms.
Yeah.
Algorithms. From this one from Popular Science, and algorithm turns fiction into interactive games, i.e., play your favorite book. This one's really cool.
Yeah, this is very cool. You should show the website in the background so people can see this.
The website. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought it was. Anyways, yeah. So this is from Popular Science, Alexandra Osala, and yeah, it's computer scientists from the Georgia Institute of Technology have created an algorithm that crafts interactive fictional stories based on similar stories written by humans. So they already kind of associate with choose your own adventure type stories with simple branching structure. Choose to go in the right path in the woods, and your options will be different than if you could choose to go left. Many video games are structured this way too, and this type of story can be limiting and demands a lot of work from the author. Coming up with new plot points that fit together into a narrative become increasingly difficult, as the author of the study wrote. So they create an algorithm because computers do very simple things very well. It's called the share. Okay, it's an algorithm with a long name, and it's named after the storyteller in 1001 Nights, and it uses crowd-sourced short stories and it creates it, and it lets the player play through these stories by determining plot points from the short story, and it'll also determine the order. So they said that the resulting story can be much more complex and rich than the simple branching architecture. And Craig, if you don't mind, I'll let you finish this.
Yes, and because as Ben mentioned, it was named after the story in 1001 Nights. It works by constructing narratives based on crowdsourced stories. So for each type of scenario, like going on a movie date or robbing a bank, the algorithm draws from hundreds of stories on the same topic to pick out important plot points and determine the order. So then it can present each option to the human reader, who could then make the story their own. And the result story that comes out of this could be much more complex and rich than the simple branching architecture. So if you do that, then do this. If you do that, then do that, or go else do this. The researchers were surprised at some of the plot points the algorithm found. The system learned that people should hold hands and kiss. This was great because it's the sort of thing that AI researchers might have overlooked if we had to program the script for going to a movie theater. So basically, again, in writing these computerized stories isn't the most imaginative you've ever read. Actions generally need to be described in one sentence, and it looks like humans are still more creative. But again, this was a project that they started to see if they could do it, do this type of thing, and it's an algorithm basically turns fiction into interactive games, and again, this is reported in Popular Science, and it's an interesting story. We thought we would bring that to you. I think I have time to do another story here. This is interesting. The doctors are going to soon be able to check your heart with what they're calling with a smartphone. They've just discovered an improvement to the stethoscope. The stethoscope was invented like 200 years ago, because a French doctor was too embarrassed to put his ear directly against a woman's chest. That's why the stethoscope came about. Would you believe it? But evidently, it's finally getting a digital upgrade. The device is called the Echo Core, which attaches to a regular stethoscope, and has just been approved for medical use by the US FDA. Now, it amplifies and records the sound signals transmitted by the stethoscope, and then sends the sound waves wirelessly to an iPhone app. And from there, doctors can record the waveform and either listen to it later or compare it to future visits to test the effects of a treatment. It'll also be handy as a teaching tool also for medical students. I mean, the stethoscope, as he said, has been around, not very much change for the stethoscope. I've seen other medical devices, thermometers. They've gone digital. Thermometers now are, you can take one, put it in your ear, rub your forehead, and you get the accurate, readout. They've improved that, but the stethoscope has been sorely lacking. But now this Echo team has developed this stethoscope that's going to be cool. Very, very cool technology. Yeah. So they've already started clinical trials for an algorithm that would compare a patient's heartbeat to pre-recorded ones and classify the rhythm as normal or abnormal. That's one of the things, because when you use a stethoscope or any instrument of that matter that just looks at you for a brief minute, you're basically getting a snapshot and you don't get the overall picture. That's why they have these heart monitors that people wear, and they take them with them, because just a simple reading is just a snapshot in a moment in time. Something could be completely normal, and then when you're going upstairs or you're doing your day-to-day activities, you can have all these anomalies that occur that are not recorded. That's why they have these heart monitors now that you can wear. Well, this is sort of similar to that. You're not wearing this, but obviously they can take the images that they're recording with a stethoscope, which they couldn't do before, and then compare them to other snapshots that they've taken to get a more a better picture of what's going on with the patient. And so this is very, very nice. And they're starting to use it. It's basically now, it's on sale now. They're calling it as one of the most important innovations for the plain old stethoscope in recent years. And you can now buy it in the US for $199. Or if you don't have the stethoscope, they'll toss one of those in for $299 as well.
Yeah, medical technology seems to be one of the best places where the average consumer smartphone or tablet or laptop, whatever, just the average consumer level of technology has been going up so quickly lately. Mm-hmm. Personal care and personal health just seems to be skyrocketing. Like, doctors are having people download apps, and they're having them buy devices, and they're having them, wear these things, use sleep monitors, use this, use that, where doctors, they no longer have to kind of say, hey, what's wrong at the end of the week, or hey, what's going on. I mean, they should still do that, but they don't have to kind of hope and guess that their patient tells them the correct information, once every 6 months. Now they get a full sheet of, how was your entire heartbeat for the last, 3 years. We can now see any abnormalities. How was your this or that? They now know everything. Like, I can't wait until it's a weird comparison, but I can't wait till this kind of technology comes to cars. I mean, things like Tesla already have this, but it's just like going to the mechanic and you have a knock in your engine and you can't quite place what it is, where it comes from, how to duplicate it, and you kind of just have to say, I really don't know what that was. Now it's the same way with your doctor. It's, you no longer have to rely that, hey, I have this ache that only comes and goes every couple of weeks. What is it? Or I have this lump, and it's a weird lump, and I don't like this lump, but it's gone away for a couple of days now. Like, you no longer have to wait to get information pulled from you, which is nice.
Yeah, and we're seeing that also in regular smartphones and applications where health monitoring is becoming a real issue. Apple with their health kit and all these different developers.
Sleep monitoring seems to be taking people by storm. Like, everyone I know seems to be having some kind of sleep monitoring system, and they like to look at their graphs. Like, I never really thought, it's like, hey, how'd you sleep last night? And everyone either gave me a groan, as in not good, or a thumbs up, which was, hey, I got a good night's sleep. Now people get this, these sleeping apps and these sleep monitoring devices, and they can look at their charts and see, around 4 a.m. I, came half awake, right, and it was not a good time for me. Like, sleep monitoring is one of the best cases of personal technology bleeding over into health technology.
Well, because how you sleep can affect your health dramatically, and I mean, it can be. Yes, it's one of the more. It's it's an important phase of your life, and if you're not sleeping properly, that can affect your health adversely. There's no question about that. Okay, I think we have time for one more story.
One more story. So, we've already talked about expensive technology. How about this one? Hopefully it comes up. And this is about a phone. A phone? Yes, a phone. A phone that is like no other, has a crazy pixel density. And I kid you not, this is overkill. Like, I thought I'd never say it, and I'm always the one to say, hey, technology is always going to get better. Don't shame it. Better technology is always good. But this happened out 2015 IFA Berlin, Germany, as we were just talking about with Panasonic and Sony. But this is also Sony, and their Xperia Z5 and Xperia Z5 Compact, they are now sporting, no kidding, 4K ultra high definition resolution
On a phone.
on a phone.
On a phone.
801 pixels. That is overkill. I never. It's impressive and overkill.
What is that going to do to your data score? I mean, just every screen you look now, they have to send you 4 times the amount of data to get that screen up. What is that going to do to your data cap? Your data consumption when you're using your phone.
Obviously, if you're streaming any kind of 4K content or trying to download any kind of 4K content, we recommend using Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will be paying a lot in extra data. That is just crazy. So, not only will this device ever get rid of pixel noise, its screen puts modern TVs to shame by having a resolution twice or 4 times greater than the usual 2K 1080p. Or the 1080p found in the latest high-end TV sets. Really, 4K resolution is just now coming to high-end television, and they managed to cram it into a phone. So yeah, they said that it comes with a premium 23 megapixel camera and a 5 megapixel selfie snapper in the front. So 23 megapixel camera, you will be utilizing some of that 4K screen right off the bat. I mean, that's a very, very powerful camera built in.
Yeah.
So it comes with a Qualcomm-made Snapdragon 810 chipset. Love Qualcomm. And 3 gigs of RAM, so it's pretty powerful. There's 32 gigs of storage with a 200 gigabyte supported micro SD card slot. So, about 250 gigs of storage. Not bad. Not bad at all. They said that it will be dust and water resistant and has a fingerprint sensor embedded in the power button, as is usual.
Yep, this on the side of the phone. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the global rollout is billed for November, and the phone will come in chrome, black, and gold.
Yeah.
Just crazy that all this technology squeezed into a phone.
Yeah. And again, although it looks great, I mean it's beyond looking great. I mean, you'll be able to take an image and magnify it. And you'll probably get to see the the little drops of water on a berry or something, or a fly on a wall, because that resolution, you're not going to be able to detect that kind of resolution on a 5.5 inch screen.
Well, that's one of the perks, is that with the 23 megapixel camera, that's a lot of megapixels, for a built-in camera. That's one of the highest that we've ever talked about. Mm-hmm. And with a 4K screen, if you're taking that picture, you're going to be able to zoom in on even the most mundane picture.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to see a person way in the background, and you will be able to zoom in and see what brand of socks he's wearing. Like it's that kind of it's that kind of technology we're talking about here. Yeah. It may not serve a purpose to the naked eye, but as you get those megapixels and as you get that resolution built in, it's going to come in handy in ways that you never even thought of before.
But it's going to cut into the amount of pictures you can store unless you're using cloud services, because with those kind of resolution on each.
Well, I mean, 250 gigs. That's nothing to laugh at. That's a lot of photos.
Yeah, still. And there's no way to.
If we make it work with our iPhones and the limited amount of storage that we have on these things, I think the Sony Xperia Z5 is going to be just fine.
All right. Well, there we go. Okay. All right. Well, I think that about does it for our computer news portion. Now, of course, if we have more stories to do, if we find ourselves having to do it. Again, let me just take this moment to mention that our contest, our social media contest tomorrow, we're going to be announcing a winner. That's right. We're going to be giving away the Logitech Anywhere MX2 wireless mouse, valued at $80. Head over to our social media contest page. It's right under the Interact pull-down menu at computeramerica.com. Every social media that you go to and subscribe to, like liking a Facebook page or subscribing to our YouTube channel or our Twitter feed, subscribing to that, or our Pinterest, all of them are there. each one of them represents an additional entry into our weekly contest. And that once you do it, you don't have to do it again. That's it. You're in it. So if you look at 4 different social media, then you'll have 4 entries every single week from that on. You go to 5, you have 5 entries every single week. That's how it works. And again, we're going to give away that MX Anywhere 2 wireless mouse from Logitech, valued at $80. It's a gorgeous mouse. It has that dark field technology, so you can use it on a glass surface, places where you couldn't normally use a mouse. It's got a button on the bottom now that allows you to select anywhere from up to 3 different devices just by pushing the button, so you can support it with 3 different devices. It has Bluetooth capabilities as well, and it's ambidextrous, so you can left or right hand. It is just a really gorgeous mouse, brand new from Logitech.
So you and your left-handed friend can use it at the same time. Very neat.
That's right. So, and again, we have a link to it. If you go to our social media contest page, there's a link there. You can actually see the MX Anywhere 2 wireless mouse from Logitech. You can read all the specs about it and join it. But, you can't win unless you play. And it's so easy. Again, just go to any of our YouTube, any of our social media pages, subscribe to them, and that entry will automatically, you'll automatically be entered for that many more times. So, and again, we're going to be giving one away in the second hour of tomorrow night's show. Okay.
Nope.
What?
You said that wrong.
What?
Tomorrow's day show.
Tomorrow afternoon show. You're right. We even changed the website. So it used to say click here to start tonight's show. I just changed it so it's start today's show here in our brand new daytime
Yeah, if you folks at home want to help us do this whole switchover thing from day to night, because it's such a part of what we were before, if you see anywhere on any of our social media outlets, on any of our web pages where it says 10 to midnight or tonight instead of today, feel free to point them out. We would really like to help, because we're in a lot of places.
Yeah, we are in a lot of places, and that's a very good point. And so help us discover where. So as we have now moved from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Okay, coming up in the next hour, the Verizon Foundation. We have the Director of Education and Program for the Verizon Foundation, Justina Nixon Saintiel, is going to be here with us talking about what they do at the Verizon Foundation. The News Tips Bulletin Review coming up as well from Marty Winston. We'll be right back with another hour of Computer America. Don't go anywhere.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we continue on here again on our new time slot this week, Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. And hopefully many of you are now aware of the new time slot. And of course, you can always download. You can listen to a time shift at any time you like, because we archive all of our programs here at ComputerAmerica.com, just on our homepage. Just go to the Archives pull-down menu, and you can see you can hear us on iTunes. You can delayed. You can get catches on Stitcher. That's a new edition. SoundCloud, another new edition. Different places where you can listen to the Computer America Show in a delayed format. A time shifted. So many of you do listen to the program that way, and we're so glad that you do. Okay, but the fun thing is that listen to us live. If you can get to us, listen to us live from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. We certainly would like you to do that. Now, if you have a comment or a question, again, you can call 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. Or submit your question on any page at ComputerAmerica.com. In the upper right-hand corner, it says Submit a Question. Click that, and you can submit your question by clicking the Submit button, and Ben and I will see it immediately for our guest this hour. Anything else you want to mention before I introduce our guest, Ben?
No. I think we've stalled long enough, and the people who need to be in position are in position. I think we're good to go.
Okay. Well, as I said, the Verizon Foundation is the philanthropic arm of Verizon. They're dedicated to solving critical social issues in the areas of education, healthcare, and energy management, particularly in underserved communities. Now, joining us is Justina Nixon Saintiel. She is the Director of Education Programs for the Verizon Foundation. Justina, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you. Happy to be here today.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. So, everybody thinks Verizon, of course, they think of the wonderful telephone service that they do, but we're not here to talk about that. We're talking about the Verizon Foundation. Why don't you give our listeners a little bit of an idea of what it is that you do at the foundation?
Yeah, so I oversee all of our education and healthcare programs in the Verizon Foundation, and our overall focus is helping communities, helping, whether it's students, teachers, patients understand how to use our technology to improve their lives.
Okay, so and that's quite a bit to do, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But we've launched some amazing programs in the last few years where we've gotten some very positive results. That the use of technology, of course, coupled with training and other support, really makes a difference.
Now, one of the programs that you have started or are currently involved with is something you call the Minority Mail Makers program. What is that?
Yes, the Minority Mail Makers program is a 2-year program in partnership with 4 HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. And really, the goal of the program is to enable minority middle school males to become creators and makers by enrolling them in 3D design and app development type of curriculum. What we're aiming to do here is to empower these minority males by giving them technology skills, entrepreneurship skills, and problem-solving skills, so that they can, go on and get more interested in STEM careers and hopefully have a brighter future.
What ages are we talking about here in this program?
Yes, it's completely for middle school students. So it's anywhere from around 11 years old to 13.
Okay. And
actually, real quick, and I went through STEM myself in college, and I saw, all of my classmates, and I won't lie to you, there was a lot of white males in my classes, very few females and very few minorities, and so that obviously is a problem just from just looking at and seeing all the white faces. It's like how many can you have? But why is it so important to get diversity in there? Is there some kind of benefit to having diversity?
Well, first of all, minority males, just like you just said, they're very underrepresented in STEM fields. I also, went and I obtained an engineering degree around 20 years ago, mechanical engineering degree, and I was the only African-American female to graduate at that time with a mechanical engineering degree, and there were very few males that graduated with me, and I don't think those stats have changed over time. I think something I recently saw was around 6% of science and engineering bachelor degrees were awarded to African-American males, and I think it's probably around the same percentage for females, probably less. So I think just as a country, I think there's an issue here with figuring out ways to get more minorities involved in STEM, whether it's, starting early, which is what we're doing by focusing on middle school males, providing them with more math instruction, more support around math and science so that we can engage them and get them interested. And the reason we launched this program was we feel that mobile technology is a tool that could get students more engaged and get them more interested in going into these types of technology fields later. And that's why we incorporated app development in our programs, because students can use the technology, create an app, test their app, and they can actually see a product that's being developed. And we feel that's a way to get them more interested in STEM careers.
Right. Actually creating something with your hands, and sometimes I think that in the education process, you learn so many basics and you go through so many beginning courses, and you go through so much of the pre-stuff that you don't actually get to see something created with your hands until much later on in the process. So I think it's a good time to kind of go into what exactly the program entails. Like you just mentioned app development. What do these students actually do in these programs?
And I agree with you that, I know when I went to school, you had a lot of theory, right? And then you didn't create something until probably your junior year. And by that time, you've lost a lot of students along the way.
Right.
What we want to do with these middle school kids, especially at their young ages, help them understand what it means to create a product, but show them at the right time, right? Show them immediately how to create a product that they can actually use or share with family members or friends. So during the summer, the middle school students actually learn app design. They learn how to develop an app that is actually launched in, Google Play, for example, if they're using an Android device. And then they also learn 3D design. They actually can create a 3D object that they can go again and use themselves. I mean, we have a great story of one of the students who did not like his phone touching the ground when it was being charged. So instead of actually going to a store and purchasing a holder, he created a cell phone holder using the 3D printer. And that's something that they could see immediately. They could see their skills being put to great use, and they can see an end product. And that gives them confidence in their abilities to actually do this in the future for STEM fields.
And it's interesting how you guys are not just utilizing technology. Like, it's not just you're sitting down in front of computers in a program. You guys sound like you're using new technology that really most people haven't had a chance to create something on their own with 3D printers. Most people haven't done app development on their own. Like these are things that I think even the average student isn't getting a chance to play with yet, and yet you're offering these to kids who really are in underserved areas.
Yeah, we call that leveling the playing field, right? So you do have affluent schools where students use 3D printers. They use tablets all the time and they're coding. But when you go into the underserved areas, these types of technologies are not always available. I can tell you that one of the HBCUs in our program, North Carolina A&T State University, I visited with them over the summer. And when it was time, it was the first day actually of the program, and when it was time to unveil the 3D printer and actually show the kids how it's been used, not one student in that class had ever been exposed to a 3D printer. And they just surrounded it in awe. It was an amazing thing to see. So this provides them right there with exposure, exposure to tools that other students that probably have the resources in their schools see every day. So we like to enable that because we feel we're leveling the playing field and we're giving underserved students an opportunity to have access to tools and curriculum and training that they would not otherwise have.
Now, Justina, I mean, this is a wonderful program. I know you just said ages 11 to 13. Are you thinking of maybe expanding or widening that age group, or are you just going to stay focused on 11 to 13 for now?
We like to focus on that age group. Middle school is an area across all of our different programs that we've implemented, some specific initiatives for that age group. And that's because, based on research we've seen, that's an area where students usually get very disengaged in school. They no longer want to sit and listen to lectures in the classroom. They're going through so many changes. And across the board, we've seen that academic achievement, academic performance usually decreases in the middle school area. So we feel that that's an area for us to continue to focus on. The other thing about middle school is it's an area where students start making decisions, right? So it may not be very specific around, I want to go into engineering or I want to go into computer science, but they start thinking about it versus their abilities. So if they're strong in math and science, they start seeing themselves as going into a math and science field potentially in the future. And that's an area, if we don't come in and show them, provide that kind of exposure, get them more confident in their abilities around math and science, we're probably going to lose them when they go into high school and then when they have to actually make a decision around career in college. So that's an area we're continuing to focus on to get kids more engaged, more interested in STEM, and specifically leveraging mobile devices, which we know middle school students love so much, so that they could, see themselves in those careers in the future.
Now, you mentioned the university in North Carolina. I understand there are 4 universities that are supporting the minority mail makers. How were they selected and for what reason?
Yeah, so there are 4 universities: Jackson State University, North Carolina A&T State University, Morgan State University, and Kentucky State University. And the process we have here is that we actually came up with a program. We felt that there was, we needed to focus on this segment. We have a lot of girl-focused programs. We have a lot of programs that we've launched in middle schools across the country, but we did not have any specific programs that targeted minority males. And we felt it was a very important thing to do, especially with what was happening in certain communities, just to change the discussion, right? Change it so that we could provide opportunities to these students to solve some of the challenges that they're having in their communities, instead of just continuing to talk about the problems. So we actually, put together what we wanted the program to be all the way through our goals. What are our targets? What % of students we wanted to have more engaged and interested in STEM at the end of the program. And then we initiated an RFP, a request for proposal, to a few universities we felt would be great partners. And Jackson State, North Carolina A&T, Morgan State, and Kentucky State were, provided the best response to that RFP, and they actually were able to launch the program over the summer.
Wow. Okay. All right. So, so you mentioned some of the skills that the boys learned in the summer, and can you share a couple of success stories? You mentioned the 3D printer, and he was able to make a stand or a dock for his smartphone because he didn't want to put it down. Can you tell us a couple other things that were done?
Yeah, I mean, it was just an unbelievable summer for some of these students. What we gave each of the universities is a standard, I wouldn't say curriculum, but program design of what we wanted to occur over the summer, but they all incorporated something different. And what I really enjoyed when I visited North Carolina A&T was, in addition to the app development class and the robotics class and the 3D design class, they actually launched a program called personal development. And that was one of the classes that was mandatory that the boys had to attend every day. And what was great about that class, which I actually sat in on, is they talked about what are the strengths of the boys, what are their weaknesses, how do they turn weaknesses into strengths. And you have some of the kids talking about what they want to be when they grow up. So some boys were saying, I want to be a basketball player, and I want to be, I want to be an artist, a music artist. And they were saying, well, can you think beyond that? Can you think of being an engineer, going into computer science, being a doctor? And then also talking to them about some of the skills they use on the basketball court. How when you want to win the game, you have to communicate to your peer, right? The other players on the team. How do you communicate, and how can you take those skills into the classroom? So the personal development class was unbelievable, and it's really helping, for the boys to see their growth and see their strengths and how they can use what they do in everyday life to increase their performance in school and their communication skills in school. So that was one part of it I liked. Morgan State University was another one that incorporated a separate focus area around entrepreneurship skills. Mm-hmm. So again, in addition to learning the basics around app development and 3D design, the boys actually had to come up with different ideas of products that they wanted to create. They needed to understand the process of building a business. So, just across the board, we had so many interesting experiences that we learned about from the boys that participated in the different programs. And over the next year, the students are going to continue to meet with the universities at least once a month on a Saturday, and they're going to continue learning some of these different skills.
Right. Very nice. And sorry if you already said this before, but How long have you been? How long has this program been going on? It kind of sounds like this is the first year.
Yes, it was launched in June across all the different universities. The summer program ended just a few weeks ago, and each of the universities did the summer program slightly different. The basics of app development, 3D design was incorporated in each of the program designs, but again, they all brought in something very different, whether it's entrepreneurship skills, personal development, etc. And then after the summer ended, they're going to continue over the next 2 years. So the kids that were in the summer program this year, they're going to come back next year, and they're going to be mentors for new kids that join the program. And then they're also going to learn the skills at a higher level. So if they did basic app development the first summer, they'll probably do, app development 2.0, whatever that is, in the second semester, and the same with 3D design. So they're going to take it up a notch for the kids that participated this summer. But what would be great, and what they're going to do also is have them be mentors for new students coming in. But over the course of the academic year, the next 2 years, like I mentioned, they're also going to continue to touch base with the students. So, they're going to continue to have projects with them at least one Saturday a month, continue the personal development classes, and just continue to touch base with them so we don't lose students over the next couple of years with the program.
So, Justina, how many students are we talking here in this first, and how many do you expect for the next term?
Yeah, so our goal this year was to have at least 700 students participate in the program, and I think we got pretty close to that.
All right.
Next summer, we're going to have new students join. So we're hoping that we're going to double that number.
All right.
And have capacity for at least 1,400 students across all 4 universities.
All right, so let me ask you this. STEM, and for our listeners who might not be familiar with the term, STEM is an acronym that stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And my question is, why is Verizon? I mean, Verizon, is a cell phone company primarily in communications. Why is Verizon interested in getting middle school age students interested in STEM education?
Yeah, well, the Verizon Foundation has supported education for many, many years. We used to do a lot of literacy programs. We always supported STEM in different ways, whether it was just, supporting math and science programs. But our main focus up until around 4 years ago was literacy. And we got new leadership a few years ago, and they said, hey, we're a technology company, and we have to start thinking about the pipeline. It doesn't necessarily mean that these students are going to come and work for Verizon at some point, although that would be great. But, we need to make sure students have the technology skills and problem-solving skills that you need to get into a company like Verizon. You need those STEM skills. And when we talk about STEM, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's that specific around coding. We feel like STEM and it includes just problem-solving skills, understanding, design thinking, creation, etc. And those are the type of skills that we're trying to bring to the middle school boys. So we've always had an emphasis on education. We've always supported education, but we made a significant effort in the last 4 years to focus more on STEM education. And we launched different programs. The Minority Meal Makers program is just one of a few initiatives we have where we focus on getting students interested in STEM.
So how do students join? Can students still join the Verizon's Minority Meal Makers program or get involved with another education program supported by Verizon?
Yes, they can. So for students that are close to the universities that I mentioned, Jackson State University, North Carolina A&T, and Morgan State and Kentucky State, they could absolutely reach out to the campus to get more information about the programs there, because they can actually join over this academic year. It's not just close to the students that participated over the summer. If more students would like to join over the year, that would be great. And then hopefully they can continue into next summer. So students can join right now by contacting those universities. But in addition to that, we have another initiative where any middle school student across the U.S. can participate in, and that's called the Verizon Innovative App Challenge. And we launched this program again a few years ago to get students more interested in STEM by leveraging the mobile devices that they love so much. So with the Verizon Innovative App Challenge, Students just need to come up with an idea for a problem that they can solve in their community or their school. They just need to come up with a concept. And the winning students actually get training from MIT Media Lab to take that concept and turn it into an actual mobile app that's launched in Google Play.
Wow.
So it's been a very successful program. Yeah.
Can you imagine getting that on your resume? I was instrumental in
I know,
getting
isn't that great? I mean, there are kids who actually use it on their college applications because this program is available to middle school and high school students. But we hear from high school students who use it as a way to get into a college. I mean, consider winning the Innovative App Challenge and solving for a big problem in your community and having an app that has been downloaded 5,000 times or 10,000 times. And we actually have apps that have been that successful. So it's been a great program.
So real quick, actually, and Justina, you actually sound like you've gone through, quite the amount of education yourself. And obviously, you're here talking about education through the Verizon Foundation. And it's no secret that the education system has a ways to go. It's not perfect. It's not awful. There's a lot of great work being done out there. But I was just kind of curious what you thought on what do you think the education field in general needs? Is it more foundations like the Verizon Foundation? Is it, people from grassroots getting together and putting higher emphasis on education? What do you think would be kind of the biggest push that, we could kind of make and change about the way we do education here in America would be the most beneficial?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I think everyone struggles with that, right? Because there are things that are just systematic. It's been going on for a long while, and it's hard for us to change it. It's deeply embedded in culture of districts and education systems, and it's going to be very difficult to change, right? But I think what we try to do at Verizon is form these public-private partnerships. Working with nonprofit partners to bring in additional supports to schools, additional, STEM programs to schools is what we really want to do, because we know that schools, it's limited funding to do anything beyond, what's directed from the state, or the district. Very limited funding. Teachers tend to be overwhelmed at times. There's a lot of state testing that's happening. So when we want to look at how we can get kids engaged around STEM and doing more hands-on learning, a lot of it has to be done by, I believe, the private sector. Partnering with organizations like Verizon makes a really big difference for schools because we can come in and we can provide additional professional development to teachers on specific STEM areas. We can incorporate app development courses in schools through partnerships like we have with Project Lead the Way and the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, which are two well-known nonprofits who are focused on getting kids more interested in STEM and giving them the entrepreneurship and coding skills that they need for future careers. So that's the kind of thing that Verizon can do. And even our partnerships with the HBCUs to launch the Minority Mail Makers program. Again, it's that public-private partnership that can make a difference for a lot of these young people's lives. But as far as the education system, I think, there are changes that need to be made that are probably beyond what Verizon can do. So we're trying to do our part and bring the additional supports to the schools.
You're focusing on technology in education. Can you speak just a little bit about what the role of technology is in education?
Yes, I think technology is extremely important in education today. I think when you look at especially underserved schools who may not necessarily have the technology in school, and when you look at more affluent schools or affluent families where their students are getting exposed to new technologies all the time, especially not just in school but at home, I think it makes a huge difference to provide that technology to underserved schools and help level the playing field. What we've seen is when you launch a one-to-one type of program in schools where students have access to, for example, a tablet, and then they also get to take it home and extend the learning day, especially students who don't have access at home. we see that there are improvements in academic performance. We see that students learn better, they're more engaged, and they're more interested in coming to school. And that's why we feel that technology makes a huge difference in how students are learning. If you look at, my kids, for example, have grown up with, iPads in the home. They've always had access. So whenever they have a question, they can get an answer within a few minutes by just searching on the internet. You'd be surprised that not everyone has that access, right? Not everyone has that ability at home to be able to solve a problem or get access to an answer to a problem, or even collaborate with their teachers. My kids, they may be able to FaceTime or Skype with other team members to do their homework. They may be able to send an email after hours to a teacher who is very engaged and will respond right away. But for kids who do not have that access, those opportunities are not available to them. So we do believe that technology can really level the playing field and provide students with opportunities to learn more, especially outside of the school environment, as much as inside the school environment moving forward. And we know that schools that have implemented technology well, or programs where students are using technology on a regular basis, we know that they have seen great results around students' interest in STEM and also students' improvement in academic performance.
Well, Justina, again, you can listeners can go to our website at computeramerica.com, or they can go to the Verizon.com and read about the Verizon Foundation. There's a link there as well. But we have a link directly at our website at computeramerica.com. It's a terrific program. Obviously, you're garnering really great results, and we wish you the best in your continued efforts with this program. And perhaps maybe you'll come back later on and tell us how things are continuing to improve. Maybe next season, we'd love to hear from you as well. Okay.
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me today.
Justina, thank you so much again. Justina Nixon Saintil, Director of Educational Programs for the Verizon Foundation. Thank you so much for being with us here on Computer America today.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Have a great day.
Goodbye. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. There you go.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. There you go. Again,
got a lot of work ahead of them, but it sounds like they got the right people for the job.
Yes, they do. Very enthusiastic people. Coming up, we're going to continue on computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. City Run ISP makes 10 gigabits per second available to all residents and businesses.
Why so slow?
Yeah. These stories and more are coming up with another news test bulletin of the week as well. Stay with us. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Yeah, like there's a Perry Mason for Murphy's Law. Hi, it's Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Nextbook Flex 10 from EFA, a 10.1-inch 2-in-1 with a detachable keyboard to convert it from tablet to small notebook. And it comes with Windows 8.1. It's a very modestly crafted product. Just 2 gig of RAM, a quad-core Atom-class CPU, 2-megapixel front-rear cameras, just 32 gig of disk space, but an SD slot so you can boost that, and only low-band Wi-Fi. It's an economy model that we initially intended for a special role as a dedicated platform for a single app, then changed our minds. We dared upgrade it to Windows 10 and put it to work as primarily a browser box, but with the ability to capture, store, send print jobs, and run other apps. It's proving very good in this very mainstream role. Bottom line, the EFA Nextbook Flex 10 brings more than enough power for what most people mostly do. Marty Winston for the News Tips Bulletin and Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. And yeah, we're here in the second hour. In the last half hour of the show, just had Justina Nixon St. Teal here with us, who was the director of education programs for the Verizon Foundation, is the director. And yeah, it was a great half hour talking about, you know, just everything Verizon, the Verizon Foundation is doing to foster STEM education in middle school minorities. It's, you know, obviously very important to get kids interested in STEM, and I think that's pretty easy to do when you give them the tools to get interested. Like it's one thing to kind of sit there and say, oh, hey, wouldn't it be cool to create an app, or wouldn't it be cool to create a computer, or wouldn't it be cool to build a TV? And it's another thing entirely to actually give the kids the hands-on experience that they need to actually start doing some of these things. And, you know, by partnering with universities and university students, they are doing just that. So very, very neat. And I look forward to having them back on again next year to talk about their progress.
All right. Well, in the meantime, Ben and I can continue or finish the show out with computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And I'm going to start off this story from Engadget. I teased it before. T-Mobile lets you dial up a video chat just like a regular call. Sounds like FaceTime. I don't know.
Sounds like FaceTime or Skype.
Yeah. Well, T-Mobile has launched a video calling feature that you can access straight from your smartphone stock phone dialer. They're calling it T-Mobile Video Calling. That's creative. Okay. There's no need to search out or download or configure and register additional apps. It seamlessly switches between LTE and Wi-Fi and automatically drops to voice only when bandwidth is low, switching back if you get a better connection. However, there is a serious catch. It only works if you're using Samsung's brand new Galaxy S6 Edge Plus and the Note 5 phones for now. Okay, and they're going to add support for the Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge coming in the next week. So this is very phone specific. Okay, so of all the other Android phones that are out there, or iPhones, this is not going to work. Okay. Now, contacts who can receive your video calls will get a camera icon next to them. So that's so you'll know that they can see this. And on top of the hardware restrictions, video call is limited to fellow T-Mobile clients. Though they say they're working with others, so you can eventually enjoy built-in video calling across wireless networks as well. So for now, you can't place a video call to Verizon users, even though that network has its own video calling service for nearly a year. Okay, T-Mobile doesn't play nice, I guess, evidently. So the service will work on 3 additional handsets by the end of the year, though it didn't specify which ones. So if you're looking, and this is obviously extremely limited, I'm wondering why they would even come out with this if they're starting with something so limited. I'm wondering what their thinking process is.
Well, limited rollout. That's betas and all that kind of stuff. This is obviously going to take a lot more data. It is video calling.
Yeah, it is. At least with their services like FaceTime, you could use it on every single anybody who had an iPhone at the time could use it. You know, which is a large number of people, but evidently on a very small basis. And again, Verizon has its own video calling system service. So I'm not sure who this is going to appeal to.
Someone out there has to find this just the coolest thing they have ever heard today. Obviously, not us. But
all right,
hey, they're giving you the option.
Yes, they are. Okay.
All right, and this next one is actually an Indiegogo campaign brought to our attention by one of our listeners.
All right. Oh, yes. Okay.
Yes, and it's a product that we've seen before. We've seen it before in an earlier iteration, but I guess now they're finally launching it on Indiegogo and actually getting the crowdsourcing that they need to put it into full production. But yeah, it's so far gotten very, very good reviews from a lot of different high-profile companies and tech industry. Higher ups.
This goes to the fact that I've always said that we could have some great technology, just that the batteries don't have the lifespan that they need to do it.
Yeah, but you always say stuff. So this one though isn't a battery breakthrough in that sense. This is a little added sleeve that, and by the way, if you're watching the video, you can find it right there. It's called Batterizer. That's the name that they landed on for some reason. Batterizer is it's a little sleeve that you insert a AA, AAA, D cell, what have you, and it's a little sleeve and it has some components inside of it. They actually do a little blow up here of the components inside: top contact, PCB, IC, and components. And the stainless steel sleeve that has a non-conductive coating, so you don't zap yourself. But yeah, you put it on the battery, and it adds no noticeable bulk. So let's say you have an Xbox controller or a remote control or what have you. You put the sleeve on, you put the battery in the sleeve, and you put the battery with the sleeve inside the device, as if it were just the plain battery. So this is very cool because you don't have to have any modified or specially designed cases for these things. Very cool.
When I first, and we're going to continue on this, but what I'm seeing here is my first impression was the sleeve went all around the battery, the entire circumference.
No.
Because my first impression was it's going to make the battery too thick, even if it's because the tolerance levels when you on these devices you put a battery in, there's very, very little wiggle room for them. So, but it turns out this space that goes on top on the top portion of the not the top, but the along the side, one side of the battery, and so you can still insert the battery into any battery holder, and as long as you have the batterizer facing outwards, you're going to have room. It will fit, and it does.
Right.
Okay.
Right, and they're just by looking at them, you can tell they're not going to cost much. They're not going to cost $100 for a set of these. They're going to be very, very inexpensive. Yes, inexpensive to manufacture, and obviously they're going to pass that on to you. But here's the thing: they claim to improve battery life of everyday batteries, Energizer, Duracell, whatever your brand is, by 8 times their life.
Now, how does it do that? I mean, there's an explanation here. Do you want to explain? Because I find this really interesting.
Sure. Well, let's see. They have the use case and blah, blah, blah. But here's where it says it makes your battery saves you money every time you use it and reuse. And by the way, each one of these things is completely reusable.
Yes.
So, pop the battery out, you're good to go. And I believe this is the one here where Batterizer can make a dramatic difference on new and most used batteries. They say that Batterizer tends to have a more dramatic effect with high drain devices. However, they are confident that you'll enjoy the huge battery life using Batterizer. It will save you money, reduce, blah, 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 blah. Well, actually, that's not the explanation.
No, it tells you here. It says
if you have it, then go for it.
It says the key to how this works is that most devices only tap a fraction of a battery's energy. When you throw a battery out, when it's done, it's exhausted. But technically, there's a lot more energy in the battery that those devices can't access. Well, what Batterizer does, it taps into that remaining energy that is normally not available to the device and sort of and you throw the battery away, it taps into that remaining energy and utilizes it, so you get up to 8 times more life out of the battery, which I think is very interesting too, because I many times I've used the battery and it says, okay, it's expired. I'll pull it out and I'll put it on a volt, the little meter and everything. And I'll say, no, it would show that there's still battery life. It's not in the bad area. It's still in the good area. It's just in the low end of the good area. But evidently that's not enough to run the device, and so you have to wind up throwing the battery away. I've seen that time and time again. So if they figured out a way to take that additional energy that's still in the battery and bring that to the surface.
That seems to be a thing where they like batteries, they would run low and then they can't provide the amount of voltage that the device needs, so it says it's dead. I guess this little sleeve is designed to make the voltage happen. Like it instead of stopping at, hey, we can't use this device anymore, the batteries are at 30%, that's not enough energy for us. These little sleeves tricks the thing into thinking, oh no, this battery is still 100%. We can keep pulling from it, and it pulls and pulls and pulls until it is completely drained,
exhausted. Yeah, exactly. And that makes a lot of sense, because I mean I've witnessed this myself. I've seen it. A battery will no longer work in the device. I take it over to the battery meter, and sure enough, it's still in the low end of good, but it's still in the good area. But evidently, these devices require the full power. So they've evidently found a way to, as you say, trick it out to trick the devices that they're still getting full battery power, and that can extend the life by up to 8 times. So now it comes in a different size. It's going to come in AA, AAA, C battery, D variations, and also a 9-volt battery. And they're saying that the 9-volt batterizer is going to be available next year. A 9-volt battery.
Or square, the rest is circle. So obviously re-engineering has to happen.
Yeah, exactly. But I would love to try this. I would think that this is something. Thanks again.
Well, lucky for you. As we mentioned, this is an Indiegogo project. I'm sure you can just Google Indiegogo and batterizer, BATTERISER, batterizer, and it'll pop up right there. This is, again, a crowdsourced technology. You can pre-order it.
Yeah,
pre-order it. These things start at 80. So their feature product, $80, and they have luckily another 300 of these left before they're claimed. But AA, AAA big bundle, so 32 of these things, and you'll get all these for AA's and AAA's, but for the cheapest, if you just want them for AA's, for remote controls and whatnot, $20 for an 8 count.
Yeah,
$20 for an 8 count. This is very indicative of what they're going to cost if they ever pop up in, let's say, Walmart or Best Buy or any of the big retail chains. This is a pretty good indicator because it's going to be the base cost of manufacturing, then shipping, and then distribution. So $20 for 8, or $20 for 8 for AAA's as well. That seems like and by the way, I keep having to say if, because I haven't tested these myself, but big names like Yahoo and Macworld and PC World have done it before us, and they show good things. But yeah, if it does what it promises, this is well worth the $20.
Yeah. I'm looking at the blow up, the expanded version of the batterizer, and you don't see much. You see the little tiny chips in there, the IC and components that supposedly make all this work.
Yeah.
And again, you say it's removable, so when the battery, you just take it off and put it on another battery.
Obviously, this kind of thing would be very susceptible to bending, like if you don't handle it properly. And I'm sure if it gets twisted out of place a little bit, then the contacts won't meet right, and then the whole thing just won't work. Mm-hmm. So that's probably why they seem semi-disposable, and they come in packs of 8. They probably are very fragile.
Or basically, a lot of people have like 2-3 devices that they want to use, and so they send the packs.
I'm just saying these things don't look that sturdy, although that's obviously by design. That they can't be too bulky, or else they would not work. But they do look flimsy.
It's stainless steel. I would think that stainless steel would still have enough tensile strength to maintain its shape.
It's flimsy.
Again, thanks to Jonathan for submitting that. He used our submitted question on our website at computeramerica.com, and we encourage all of you to do exactly that. Allows you to interact with us. You don't have to always call us. Just submit a question and we can see that. But thanks to him for this. This is very, very cool. All right. Again, the batterizer. So this next story here, this is from Engadget. And I'm very familiar with Bang & Olufsen. Bang & Olufsen is known for their high-end, high-quality audio-visual equipment for your home, and they've always, their looks and style have been phenomenal.
They've always delivered a product that matches their price point.
Yes, but they're also very expensive, but not super expensive. There's a lot more expensive. And Bang & Olufsen's it's the high end, the higher end, but still of reasonable consumer consumption. It's not out of the reach of most of it. There's some that are just out of the reach of everybody, except the 2% of people out there. But that's not
2%.
Yeah, 2% of
no one's ever said the 2%. 1%. That's the term. 1%.
Well, anyway, they make luxury devices, and this is they've got the Beoplay A6. It's a wireless speaker that sells for $1,000, and $999 actually. Basically, it looks like a pillow, but not quite a pillow. It's like poofy, but it's very thin, and it looks like the back of a chair, gently curving and covered in a designer fabric. Okay, but Bang & Olufsen says that its unique shape enables sound to fill an entire room while creating ambience in multiple areas of a house. That's the direct quote from them. The interface for the A6 is pretty interesting.
I don't believe you're giving this a proper tone and inflection that this calls for. The ambiance and atmospheric settings of.
You can go to Radio Shack. Well, you can't get any more, but you used to be able to go to Radio Shack and get a nice stereo system where you can go. But it's not going to be this. The main thing with B&O is its looks and style and the quality of the audio it produces. But basically, this is an unusual. It's a Bluetooth speaker, but it's a very unusual looking speaker. It's all based around swiping and tapping the top of the speaker. Okay, so you just do that. A swipe right, for the example, turns the volume up. Holding the center mutes, and a quick tap skips the track. It's not the most intuitive way, but it's still very, very cool, I would think. And there's a pair of 60-watt 5.5-inch woofers, a pair of 30-watt 3/4 tweeters, and a single 60-watt 1.5-inch full-range speaker, each with its own amplifier. The full range units actually positioned in the opposite direction to each other. Bang says that allows us to maximize the spaciousness of the sound you experience, which is another way of saying they're bouncing sound off the wall. Okay, so that's it. You aim it away from you. Okay, the number of sources, it supports AirPlay, DLNA, Bluetooth. It has an integrated access to streaming service like Spotify, Deezer, and TuneIn Radio. It has all these interfaces built into it. It also plays nice with.
Wait, did you say it's TuneIn Radio?
TuneIn Radio, yes, that's right. That's where you can listen to us. We're on TuneIn.
Hey.
Yeah, that's right. You can listen to.
We take it back. This thing sounds well worth your money. Go get this thing.
You can listen to Computer America on this device. That's right. Of course, it also plays nice with the company's new multi-room setup. So it allows you to look down on those cheap Sonos using from your penthouse. I like the Sonos players. They're not cheap, and they're nice looking. But anyway.
Well, they put cheap in quotes. So obviously, if something costs $300 or $400 compared to this thing, it would be cheap.
It's tongue-in-cheek, though. Yeah, so there you have it. They've taken a very pricey take on the wireless speaker, but it looks attractive. It sounds great. And yes, it costs a small fortune by regular standards. So there it is.
By any standards, $1,000 for a Bluetooth speaker, folks. We see Bluetooth speakers left and right. We try to shield you from it. There are lots of them out there, and we find the incessant march of just Bluetooth speaker and phone case and phone case and Bluetooth speaker to be rather monotonous. But for $1,000, I felt like that was the magic price point. That was, hey, that's a little bit different than the rest.
It is different. And different from the rest, and it gets the TuneIn Radio network where we're on. Okay, you can You can listen to Computer America on these speakers. That's it. All right. I think we have time for one more story, Ben.
I think we do. And since we're talking about fancy products, and fancy products are fancy products, I know Craig teased that 10 gig city one, that the internet service, but I like this one better because I'm not where that 10 gig service is. Because if I was there, I'd be shouting it from the rooftops. Although some highlights from that other story. Oops, autoplay on. Just a little highlight from the other article there. As soon as there we go. Anyways, a little highlight from the other article is that the 10 gig service is aimed towards businesses, though anyone in the service area has access to it, and it costs $400 a month to get 10 gigabits per second. Though, 10, I believe was it Comcast offering 2 gigs said it was going to be 300 and some odd dollars.
Yes.
So that price is still pretty low, especially for a business.
Yeah.
A business would easily be able to swallow that cost.
Yeah.
So back onto this story though. This is by Ry Christ. He is he's a reporter who went out to the IFA, which we've been talking so much about lately, and this is a see-through fridge.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is from CNET. It's a see-through fridge out at the IFA. And let's see if we can pull up some pictures of this thing here. And this thing just, if Greg wants to talk about looks, he can talk about looks. But, we're going to talk about the looks of this fridge. And first off, they're very tall, very slim, very minimalistic, clean lines. And it's called the Haier, H-A-I-E-R Smart Window Refrigerators. So yeah, if you ever get tired of opening the doors and closing the doors, opening doors and closing doors to look at the food inside and finally decide, I'll have an energy bar. Yeah, and careful, Craig, autoplay video. But yeah, this thing has a built-in see-through window. You flip a switch, you press a button, whichever it is, and bam, just think of it kind of like the window you have in ovens.
Yeah.
You turn the light on, the light source inside, and you can see through that window.
Yep.
Same kind of technology, but this one is done digitally. You hit the button, and bam, the window, your entire refrigerator door, the entire front of your refrigerator becomes transparent, and you can see inside of it without actually opening it.
That is very cool.
It's very, very cool. And let's just go back here to the price point, because I believe the price point, they haven't strictly announced it yet, but something like this, it's going to cost a couple $1,000 more than most top end, so probably $3,000 or $4,000. They haven't, of course, used it, and they will be having a widespread rollout to the Asian and European markets, with America coming the year after that. Who knew refrigerators would be rolled out in other markets before the U.S.?
Now I have mixed reactions on this, because one of the things that I like about when I go to a refrigerator is opening the door. I'm sorry, but I like to open it and just look. And
that's very wasteful, Craig.
Yeah, I know, and
that's the attitude that's going to kill all the polar bears before the younger generation gets here.
I mean, it's cool to look at it and see it through the door. It lights up, and so you can see everything inside. And then when the light goes out, it looks like a solid door again, which is kind of neat. But to me, I like to rummage around and see what's in the back behind the shelves. Somebody hid something behind there that I might want to check out or something. And I don't know. There's just something about opening the door of the fridge and be hit by that blast of cold air.
No.
Yeah.
See, again, that's very wasteful mentality. This is solving a problem that we didn't know we had, but at the same time, you can very clearly see that, hey, if you can keep the person from opening and closing the fridge, having to kick that electricity on and off, hey, that's going to be a cost saver to your electric bill at the end of the month, let alone saving the polar bears.
Yeah, exactly. And there you go, a see-through fridge.
It probably would be more energy efficient than your average fridge.
Yeah. Now it's a smart window refrigerator. That's what they're calling it. So and basically when you when you, I guess when you touch the door, the light in the back, it lets you see through it, and then when the light goes out, it looks like a solid door again. Which I think, yeah, kind of neat technology. I don't know if does it support the Internet of Things? I mean, can you?
Not that smart. This is their attempt to show off just that particular technology. I do not believe it has Internet of Things capabilities.
Okay. Well, but it's got that look through ability. I think so.
More transparent than my fridge.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that wraps up things. We don't have time to do another story, do we? I don't think we do.
No, we really don't.
Okay. Well, again, I want to thank our a guest who was on with the first time, first in the second hour, Justina Nixon Santila, who is the Director of Education Programs for the Verizon Foundation. Again, thanks to her for appearing on the program, and I think we'll have her back, as time progresses on. Now, coming up tomorrow night, we're going to have tomorrow afternoon. Okay, I got to start. In the first hour of the show, we're going to have LapLink on the program, especially since Windows 10 is here now, and you need to migrate stuff over from one computer to another. Migration is one of the key concerns of computer users. I'm going to move everything over. Am I going to lose anything?
90 seconds.
Well, Thomas Cole, who is the LapLink software CEO, is going to be here in the first hour talking about their product that lets you easily move your software from one computer to another, or from one platform to another, or just from one partition. The easy transfer is what they're calling it. He's going to be on the first hour of the program. And then in the second hour, we're going to have a company called Zeetings. Zeetings is basically a one-way presentation that you can change it to two-way conversations. It's going to replace PowerPoint. It's just a very interesting concept. We're going to have Robert Kowalski on here. He's the CEO and co-founder of Zeetings. He's going to be joining us. He's in Europe, and he's going to be joining us in the second hour of the program. Again, thanks to all of you for being with us here today on the show. And don't forget, if you see somewhere where we still have tonight rather than today, let us know so we can change it and fix it, because 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So that wraps it up. Thanks again. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
Good day, everyone.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, again, thanks for everybody watching on this live video stream. It was a lot of fun, and Ben and I will see you tomorrow afternoon. Same time, same station.
Yep, good night, everyone.
Good night. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good day.